Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you my top tips for being a one-income household. All right, if you're new here, hello, I'm Claire. Come on in, make yourselves comfortable, and subscribe if you like what you see here. I will leave a playlist of some of my other financial videos down below if you want to check those out when you're done here. Because if you like this, you'll like those. Now, if you already follow me, thank you so much, then you'll know that we are a one-income household. We slowly weaned down to this. I used to be a professional dog groomer, but now I'm home with the kids. I have two sons, so we are a family of four. After I had my first son, I went down to 3 days a week. When I had my second son, I went down to 2 days a week. And after the pandemic hit, we've now just been done with that altogether. So I know that being a one-income household comes about for many different reasons for many different people, especially right now during the pandemic. You might not have a choice. You may have lost your job because that has happened to a lot of people. So you could be in that boat. Also, if you are maybe putting your career on hold to deal with your schooling from home sort of situation, I know there's a lot of people out there dealing with that. Or if you've just decided to be a one-income household, or if maybe that's a goal of yours in the future, then this video is for you. All right, let's get right into it with tip number one. It seems simple, but it's really important. And that is to have a budget. And not only have a budget, but discuss this budget in length and detail with your partner. I can't express to you enough how important it is to really have a very open line of communication with your partner if you're going to be a one-income household. Sometimes that balance of power can be a little bit difficult. I'll get into that a little bit later. But the first thing you need to do is really look at your budget, look at the numbers, see if this is actually a possibility for you to do. Sometimes you might do some crunching, you might, subtract something here, figure out a way to live, a little bit cheaper over there and see that it's feasible for you. But before you even think about this, see if it's possible. Crunch your numbers. And with this budget, make sure that all parties involved agree to it. You really need to come to an agreement with your partner about what your budget is going to look like. Whether if you as a stay-at-home parent are going to get your own small budget for your own needs, if you were going to do it together, figure that out, how that's gonna go for you. My number 2 tip for you guys is to find your side hustle. Now this could probably be an entire video of its own, but I'll just give you my best sort of overview of the side hustle sort of track here. So of course, a side hustle is something you do on the side to generate a little bit of extra cash. And with that, my first sort of tip within the side hustle tip is that do not budget your side hustle money into your regular budget. Because the nature of the side hustle means that we don't quite know how much we'll get, when we'll get it. Some months the side hustle could be very successful, some months we might get zero. So we don't want to build that into our budget because we don't want to depend on that. So when you're sitting down, if you're figuring out if being a one-income household is possible, do not count any possible side hustles in that because it's not dependable enough to count it as regular income. Secondly, I thought I would just share with you guys what my side hustles are as a stay-at-home mom because they've really worked out for me. So I've been side hustling since I was like a child. I started dog walking and pet sitting in my neighborhood. It paid for trips and all sorts of stuff for me when I was younger. As I grew up, I sold energy drinks and candy bars out of my locker. I've always been a natural side hustler. So it's only sort of natural that now in my adult life, especially now that I'm not working, that the side hustles just keep coming. And the first one I have is YouTube. Now this is one that I would not actually recommend for everybody because for me, I did have to invest a little bit of money into it. I needed a new computer and I needed a camera. And over time, I have upgraded those things slowly. But if you already have that type of equipment, you could give it a go. I will tell you though that it took me an entire year to monetize my channel, and I do put about as much time into the channel each week as a part-time job. So not super lucrative, but if you can get to a point like I have, then I make about, actually I'm gonna tell you right now, I make about $200 a month right now, but it goes up a little bit every single month as I produce more content. But it took me a long time. I've been on YouTube for 3 years, so it's an idea. But if you're looking for cash today, right now, next week, don't do YouTube. My other side hustle is dog grooming on the side. Now, this is really great if you are leaving a job where you have a specific skill. Use that skill in your side hustle. That is something that you already have that you can use. So definitely draw on the strengths you already have. I, groom dogs professionally for 10 years. I went to a canine school of cosmetology. I'm actually quite good at it. So it was really a bummer to leave my job, but I currently groom about 6 dogs, I think like 6 or 7. 3 of them are from the same family. But that means I'm grooming a dog, maybe 1 dog a week, 1 dog every other week. So enough to keep my skills sharp and enough to bring in $50 here, $50 there, enough for me to have a little bit of petty cash. So that really worked out really well for me. So maybe if you're leaving like an office job or a corporate job or something you know a lot about, maybe look into some freelance consulting. That's a good idea, or whatever way that you can translate the skills of the job you maybe be leaving. Try to see if you can make some side money off of it. Now I'm gonna give you just a rundown of some side hustle ideas. Cleaning houses is a great way to make your own schedule and add a little extra money. You can also do childcare. This is especially good if you have a lot of littles at home. Sometimes it's not that big of a deal to just add one more. You can also offer to pick up and drop kids off at school. I know there's a couple people in my neighborhood who are constantly looking for someone to do that. So that's always an option. You can also work for companies like Shipt, like Uber or Lyft or DoorDash or some of those sort of delivery companies. This works well for people who need to have a really flexible schedule, and especially for moms, because you can just go deliver food from 11 p.m. to 12 p.m. every whatever, and it totally works. So obviously that's not going to work for everybody, but it is an option. Also, you guys, I would love to put this call out to everyone who's ever had a side hustle or has any ideas or side hustles you've had in the past or any of that. Leave them all in the comments down below. Get as creative as you can, because I want anyone to be watching this to be able to look down there and to get all of the ideas. Sometimes you got to be a little bit creative, but it often really pays off. My tip number 3 is go all in. And I know that might seem like really cliche, but honestly, I got this advice from my best friend, Deshawn, because I was really having a hard time becoming a stay-at-home mom. I really loved my job. I loved my career. I was kind of 1 foot at work and 1 foot at home, trying to figure out where I belonged. And whether you are becoming a 1-income household because you want to or because you have to, there can be a really big mental block in feeling validated with the home life and having that same sort of energy or passion that you do sometimes with a job. And my friend Deshawn just told me, whatever you choose, if you're gonna go back to school, if you're gonna go back to work, if you're gonna stay home, choose the choice and really choose it with all of you and put all of yourself into it. Give it 100%. And I really thought about that, and I've really taken that to heart. Instead of being at work and wishing I was at home, and then being at home and wishing I was working, I really wake up with the intention of spending meaningful quality time with my family, with making sure that we have a clean, nice home that we feel safe and can spend time in together, and really trying to find that fulfillment, not from other people, maybe at my job, telling me how valuable I am to them, but really just feeling it for myself. So I definitely think no matter what circumstances have brought you to the 1-income household, give it your all. And you'd be surprised at how, what a difference that can make in your day-to-day attitude and how fulfilling it feels to you. All right, my number 4 tip is be prepared to make some sacrifices. This definitely ties in with number 1, the number 1 tip I said about making a budget. For number 4, I am so serious. You're gonna have to give something up. And I feel like if you're a person that doesn't need to give anything up to become a 1-income house, then why are you watching this video? You got it figured out then. So we know things like we are not ready to get into more debt. If we want to buy something, if we want to make a change in the house, we really want a new bathroom, we've already decided that we are not going to go into more debt. We are going to save up our money and buy those things in cash. If you watched my top tips and money hacks that my family uses to be frugal, I'll leave that video down below. A lot of those things tie in perfectly to this one. You're going to need to sacrifice some of the things in your lifestyle in order to make this work. And some of those things might be really difficult. And if you're having a problem with this, sit down and make a list of some of the things you're willing to give up. Include your partner in this. Try to make it something that you do together, and figure out maybe a few things you can give up to make things run a little bit smoothly. And also your partner should be giving some things up too. My final tip for you guys is to sit down with your partner and come up with a 1-year plan, a 2-year plan, a 5-year plan. Everyone is gonna have sort of a different, sorry that my dog just keeps walking around in the back, but if you watch me all the time, then you know, he just like pops in and out of every video. But anyway, everyone's like time frame is gonna be different depending on what your goals are. But if you're someone who's maybe doing the 1-income household just for right now because of the pandemic, then maybe make a 1-year plan. But for me, I'm thinking of, okay, what about when both my kids are in school? Let's make a plan from here until then. And then what about when they both can stay home by themselves when they're teenagers? What about when they graduate from high school and they go off to college? You know, I know that's like a lot of forward thinking, but if you and your partner can sit down and make a plan of what that kind of looks like for you as a person who's gonna stay home with the kids, that's gonna be really helpful because you'll be able to tackle things that come along because you've already discussed them. So like an example of this is I'm thinking about maybe going back to grooming once both my kids are in school. We have looked at what those numbers might look like and decided if that's worth it or not. What will our savings account look like if I'm able to do that? What will it look like if I'm not? What will it look like if I decide to go back to school? What will that do with our finances? So just kind of try to anticipate some of the changes or choices you might have in those time increments. That way you won't be surprised by anything. Another thing that's good in that timeline is to discuss any problems that might come up and what your solutions might be. So a possible scenario is, what if my husband loses his job? What happens if you go from a 1-income household to a no-income household? What is your plan? Well, we can fall back on my grooming skills at any time. So we discussed that if that were to happen, I would go back to work immediately, full time, until he could find something else. So come up with these scenarios. What happens if you need a new furnace? Yeah, what are you gonna do about that? Are you gonna put it on a credit card? Are you gonna have someone go back to work for a while? What are these scenarios? And I mean, it's fine to put a furnace on a credit card. People do it all the time. It's not like a bad thing. But you and your partner should be prepared for some of the bigger things that could pop up. You know, if one of you gets in a car wreck, or your car gets totaled, or your car just dies, what are you gonna do? Are you going to be able to live with one car for the family for X amount of time? Think of these scenarios and make a real plan. I also think that it's important when you are planning to really discuss what you and your partner's expectations are out of this. I think it can sometimes happen where the person staying home might not feel fulfilled and the person working might feel like they're doing all the work. It's important that both people bring their concerns, their expectations, and all of their feelings to the table when making a decision like this, because you definitely don't want to end up resenting your spouse for this decision. You also don't want to end up resenting the whole decision if you are like living super, super frugally or really brokely and everyone is really unhappy. It's important that everyone is on the same page. You and your partner really need to make this decision together and be in it together when you're making choices for the family. All right, you guys, those were my biggest tips in becoming a 1-income household. I'm really glad that I made the decision. But like I said, who knows what's gonna happen in the future? I'm totally open to going back to work depending on how things happen, but I do know it was the right choice for us at this time. So wherever you may be in this journey of having 1 income for your home, I hope these tips were helpful for you in some way. If you want more specific actual dollar saving frugal tips, again, I will leave that video down below for you. I also have a great video on frugal parenting and some other money related videos in that playlist. So definitely check those links out down below. And of course, come on back for more great frugal living and amazing videos by me. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.